Hi, my name is JJ Asgar, and if you're watching this, you are watching my test video for a talk I want to do is something called a Ignite talk. Basically, the idea is I have 5 minutes, 20 slides, 15 seconds each, and I have to tell a story. I'm going to be telling a story about how to introduce and leveraging AI for our enterprise. So when I flip this over, I'm going to actually be moving the slides. I'm not going to have it timed, but I want to see if the narrative works. And if you're watching this, please give me a comment or reach out to me and tell me what you think. My goal is to give foundational knowledge from there, so we can start looking at using AI more at our jobs. So let's see how it goes. All right. Well, hello, and thank you for joining me. This is Introduction to Leveraging AI for Your Enterprise, and I'm a developer advocate for IBM. You can reach me at awesome@ibm.com. So what is this talk actually about? The AI world is massive, and there's things left and right. Things are changing constantly, which is good, but there's a lot of foundational knowledge and foundational terms that you probably don't know. So if you're paying attention in 2023, this should hopefully give you some foundational knowledge to work with. These all terms right here are logos you've probably seen or maybe you've been associated with. One is called ChatGPT. OpenAI AI is a company that has taken the world by storm. Hugging Face is extremely important, and it's not just emoji anymore. And I'd be remiss not to mention that IBM now has Watson X, which is now going to be a trusted AI platform for your company. Seriously, if you're looking for high security AI that's trusted, you should take a look at Watson X. It's going to change the enterprise space. So I'm going to actually start off with something called Hugging Face. If you've never seen this before, it is literally the Hugging Face emoji. It started out as a chatbot, and then it turns out it's become the de facto place for sharing models online. This is the beauty of it. It is basically the GitHub of the AI space. People can share all the stuff, but I'm going to go into what a model is and what you're actually sharing here in just a moment. We'll actually see some of the neat wrappers and code they have around it too. There's a whole ecosystem of terms in this space now. If you have not had any real exposure to it, frankly, it can be overwhelming. Most people think it's all just crazy math, and as my daughter says, it's big brain things. If you're looking to leverage AI, you don't need to actually learn how to program and do all that math. You can just leverage portions of it. A good metaphor is we all know how to use Microsoft Word, but we can't all program Microsoft Word, right? Like actually create it. So what we're going to be looking to it is from the angle of leveraging the software to do the work for us. The first thing first is, what is actually a model? It's the black box of the AI space. It actually does the figuring out or the brain of the AI. You can create and train these and shove data into it and get your desired outcomes though. But remember, like all programs, good data in, good data out. On the flip side, garbage in, garbage out. Speaking of data, what's a data set? It's actually important to know. This is the data that the AI crunches to figure out the model, what it needs to do. Sometimes it's CSV, sometimes it's other files, but it's all, quote, cleaned data. You need to have clean data inside of it where everything is consistent, that is read in. And there are tons of theories on how you break up and how to train that model, but the general rule is you use a 70-30 split. I keep using this term training, so what does actually training mean? Do you see what I did there? Nice little continuous, right? No, okay. So what is training? It's the actual computation that creates the model. You normally take 70% of your data, run it through PyTorch or TensorFlow, and it comes out with that model. Then you take the other 30% of the data and test it against the model to check against it. You look for, with the confirmation of that 30%, trying to get to 0.01 or the better you are to see how accurate that it comes back with what it was suggesting. So it looks, you push in the 30%, it looks at the data and it says, oh, hey, I was expecting to get this answer. The training or the Validation data says this. I'm getting really close to what I'm looking for. So let's actually talk about the types of models out there. Because now that we understand kind of the foundational parts, what are there? Like, what can I do with AI at the moment in 2023? There's a whole ecosystem of all these, but I'm gonna pick on some of them that you should really know, so you can build off of this. Again, my whole goal of this talk is to be able for you to really fully understand what's going on. NLP, or natural language processing, is kind of where the majority of AI kind of has really taken flight. It's where a computer tries to understand human language and processes it. Hence the natural language processing, right? This is pretty much the space that most people have exposure to, but it's important to recognize that there's actually portions that are broken into NLP and kind of focused areas. The first one we're going to talk about is something called sentiment. As you see here, this is actual code from the Hugging Face website, and that's all you need to leverage Hugging Face to run sentiment analysis. This is a very simple example to figure out the sentiment of a sentence. It sees if it's positive or negative, and it'll classify that line and then print out the result. The last time I ran this, it came back with a 0.96 positive sentiment. I've been waiting for a Hugging Face course my whole life. It's pretty positive. It's pretty good. So it's well worth it. But if you look at it, that is not a lot of code, in Python, if for that matter, to get this up and running. Just as it sounds, summarization summarizes things, right? You've probably seen summary bots on Reddit, or like for different TLDR bots out there for articles or whatever. And it's important, right? Like there's ways for AI to take long data forms and shrink it down. The best way I like to think about it is the Cliff Notes when I was in high school of trying to read Oliver Twist. AI can do that for me now, which is really nice. So keep a lookout out for these. Next is text generation. You've probably seen this through ChatGPT or whatever, but this is actually all you need to do to run the Distill GPT-2 model against a text generation using Hugging Face. So all that stuff you've seen with ChatGPT and people like overrunning it and stuff, this is all the Python code you need. And I saw demos with this in this course. I will teach you too, and it kept going. And there was things ranging from, I will teach you how to use chess. I will teach you how to do whatever. So it's really, really interesting to see what comes out of this. But that's all you need to do text generation to shove it into a model. Okay, so let's take another step back. And now that we've talked about text and natural language processing, we're going to talk about some computer vision. Now, this is exactly what it sounds. It's actually getting a computer to identify something. This is that slippery slope that sci-fi movies talk about with AI and warned us about. But this is important to recognize that it is a space that is growing significantly faster. If you're a Silicon Valley fan, this probably should look very familiar. A hot dog, not a hot dog. So there it is. Basically classifying if that's a hot dog or not. I mean, that's it. It does it with a lot of different things. Admittedly, a lot of them are really bad, and it does take a lot of work to get image classifications to work, but you'd be very surprised on how quickly that you can tune your model to make it. Object detection is exactly what you thought. Now, this is actually the one that most people are afraid of, because this is the thing that a lot of the scary parts of AI start showing up. But this also can be advantageous, because imagine traffic cameras, and you detect cars coming by, which is good, and you detect a car crash inside of it. If the if it detects a crash happening and it knows what a crash looks like, it can immediately send out EMS or whatever to it, which is really nice. If you have a manufacturing firm and you've got a line of goods and you have a defect, and it finds a defect for it, it detects a defect, it can take that out of the manufacturing line. There are some really great positives with this. It allows for computers to do a lot more work 24/7 than a human verifying stuff. So we've talked about focused models now, but let's talk about multimodal and what can be built off of that. Remember, these models are trained on the data, and it's still a black box of sorts, but it's important to recognize that these are combined tasks into multiple things. So we'll go with the first one that most everybody knows, or kind of took the world by storm, with Dali. Create an armchair with the shape of an avocado. Figured it out pretty well. Like if you look, there we go. And that's exactly what you do. You give it a prompt, it comes back with a picture. There is some really creepy stuff out there, but it is actually quite accurate. So this world is exploding with things. And the natural progression is text to video. This is actually from NVIDIA. They created a video, or they sent a text of a stormtrooper vacuuming a beach, and they created a little video of it. Unfortunately, I couldn't actually find the video, but it's a still from it, but you can kind of see where it's going. And believe it or not, those are everything you need to kind of know about the space at the in 2023, and then this is probably enough to get off the ground. So hopefully you enjoyed this talk, and thank you so much for joining me. And again, if you're still watching this, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you learned something, or at least have a better foundational knowledge of some things. And if you ever need to find me, never hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help. Thanks, all.